Alright, again, this is part 2, okay? This is just We the People news, alright? This video is without prejudice or without recourse, okay? I never look straight forward. I always look around me to be able to protect myself by any means necessary. Anything I say or do is just my opinion only, okay? Do not take it as legal advice. Why? Because I'm not an attorney. That's why, people. Alright, just one reminder. Actually, this is going to be the third video, but second for direct, but the third video back from this one, it talked about non-judges, which goes in concisely of what this judge is actually doing, people. You need to get out of the administrative courts and get into the bigger courts. And if you're kind of curious what else is said, check out my third video back from this one, or second video back from this one, however you want to do the math, right? So check that one out, because this judge is literally doing what that other video is saying, and they're confused on, right? They're playing out admitting that they don't even know what to do with these judges, in essence, what authorities they actually have. All right, let's go back to Direct D. Probably going to be a commercial for it, sorry.
Active recovery is essential. I wear UFOs because my training never stopped.
Mr. Ruff, I think what is really clear is...
I'm going to stop also right here. Direct D, if you actually ever see my videos. By the way, I'm not making any money off this. It's just a learning video for all of us to share and know what we can and cannot do, right? We do not have to beg and plead and bow down to these judges. And on a side note, y'all, Direct D's attorney had every right and authority to actually go to appeal this. You know, there is no sense trying to make any plea bargains and this, that, here, and there. This judge has watched Direct D's video, and he knows Direct D didn't do nothing wrong, and yet they're still sentencing him on something that he absolutely had a right to do. And they changed the right to a privilege to a crime.
You may not recall, I recall. I remember the things that you said in your closing statement here, and I think you believe that that is constitutionally protected speech, and I'm going to respectfully disagree with you, and I won't repeat.
Boom. There goes free speech, and that judge is 100%, we call them judges, are saying that you don't have free speech. When in essence, when you walk into courts, you're waiving all your rights, right? You don't have your First Amendment. Can you bear arms in the courtroom? Nope. So you don't have a Second Amendment, right? So
what you said, but when you look to the officer in this courtroom, that closing, and when you said what you said you could do, I disagree with you, and I respectfully disagree with you. And I've thought long and hard about how do we change this person's behavior. Mr. Ruff, you are an intelligent person. You're about to be a father. I don't know if you have any other children, but certainly you are about to be a father. And I don't know what it is, Mr. Ruff. I don't know if you are, and I can't necessarily understand because I haven't been in that position, but I know that sometimes when people serve time, I can tell you from being a private defense attorney for more than 20 years, representing people who have committed the most egregious of crimes. I know sometimes imprisonment can change people, and sometimes not necessarily in a good way. And I don't know if there is some of this still in terms of the system. And I know that police officers sometimes don't do the right thing. I'm certainly one who would understand that, sitting in the position I did for all those years. But your conduct, Mr. Ruff, goes to another level. It just went to another level in these cases.
explain to me, y'all, what is a limitation on free speech? right? It's designed to be controversial. That's what it is. It's designed to be. So if it's controversial and you're using this free speech, then in fact, you are exerting your rights. And I mean, all the officers had to do is shut up, mind their own business, and get to work. Okay? They absolutely, beyond a shadow of a doubt, knew there was no threat. They've been around D for such a long period of time, they absolutely know it. They're just trying to sort their authority over D. And now the judge is trying to sort his authority and kiss the cops' boots and basically saying you don't have rights to say or do what you wish to the officers.
And inside of the crowd, and understand that you may be doing this for recording purposes, and there is no problem with you merely showing up and recording. That's never an issue. It's what you do while you're recording. It's getting into the faces of these individuals, inciting the crowd, and that's what I saw in the last case. I thought it was egregious. You could clearly tell the officer was concerned as he was walking back to his car. So while there is a first...
Just a note, they always come to the camera. They do it. Every single time, y'all. It's been shown over and over and over. And then they victim explain. I am a victim now. I've been filmed. That they walked into.
Amendment right, Mr. Ruff. Sometimes when you're placed on probation, you lose your rights. And our courts are clear about that. You lose certain rights. Just like when you are locked up in DOC, you lose that right to be in public because of the crime that you committed. So this is what I'm going to do, Mr. Ruff. In the case of 2021-048-968, that is the case of failure to obey a police officer. You were found...
Failure to obey a lawful, or just obey him in general for no reason, just because the officer says so. There are 6 things as an officer can tell you what you can do that's not lawful, or they can tell you something that you need to do that is lawful. But with this judge, what he's saying, in essence, that whatever a cop says, whether it's lawful or not, you must be a sheep and bow down and lick his boots, in essence.
Guilty of that matter. I'm giving you 90 days of jail. 90 days of jail will be postponed. I'm placing you on probation for 24 months. You are directed to do counseling. I'm sending you to Prodigy Healthcare to do counseling. You are to contact...
Advance here.
Advance.
Commercial.
Advance.
Like advance.
That's me.
This is how we advance.
Earn your degree faster at Purdue University Global. With over 175 online
counseling. I'm sending you to Prodigy Healthcare to do counseling. You are to contact them within 2 business days to set up that.
Oh, by the way, y'all, not being a bar member gives you that power. Just saying. There is such things, privilege courts and people's courts. There is 2 different courts, right? People's court is you stand in there as a man and you have rights, not privileges. All right? Companies have privileges, and that's what they're trying to do. They created a bypass law and say it's a privilege to be in this court because they're assuming and presuming that he is a corporation. Okay? So, but standing as a man or woman in the courts, you have rights to due process, not a privilege to due process. You have a right to make claims, not a privilege to make claims. Corporations have privileges to use that courtroom. Men and women have rights to use that courtroom. And when the judge says it's my courtroom, it is to a corporation. But when a man or a woman steps in that courtroom, that is their courtroom because they have rights and access to it.
Counsel. In the case of 2021-043-799, I am not going to place you on probation for that criminal trespass case. However, Mr. Ruff, in light of the fact that I know you had a total of 6 cases and I realized that 2 of them were dismissed, so I'm not taking those into consideration, but the fact that you continue to pick up.
The fact that you even brought them 2 cases up and not using consideration on that, why even bring it up? That's just mind-boggling. There is no reason even to bring it up to his attention on that. Gee Louise.
These cases, that your behavior hasn't been changed or modified. I do believe that jail time is warranted, Mr. Ruff. It's based upon your prior criminal history. It's based upon the number of cases that you picked up in this court. It's based upon the conduct that you continue to show and the disdain that you continue to show, not only this court, but others. For that reason.
What about the disdain that the judge, the alleged judge, and the alleged cops are doing against the man here? What about the disdain on that, buddy?
So, Mr. Ruff, I did find you guilty. I'm imposing 5 days of jail. Those 5 days are straight time. There's no 2 for 1. That jail time will be concurrent in the case ending in 2021-063-564.
That's it. Could do 10.
In the case of 2021-063-564, court does enter a judgment of guilt for that criminal trespass charge. I am placing you on probation in that matter for 12 months. I am giving you 5 days of jail. Again, those 5 days of jail will run, it'll be a straight time, no 2 for 1. That will run concurrent with the 5 days of jail in 2021-043-799.
So are the security guards in the back meant to intimidate me, Your Honor? Is that why they're here?
In the case of 2021-071-040, Mr. Ruff, I'm placing you on probation. Court does enter a judgment of guilt to offensive disorderly conduct as a Class 1 misdemeanor and trespassing as a Class 1 misdemeanor. 180 days of jail, 180 days will be suspended, 3 years of probation, and I am ordering counseling. I am ordering that you do anger management on the trespass charges, 30 days jail, 30 days suspended, 12 months probation. And Mr. Ruff, as to the matters that you are being placed on probation for, and the failure to obey a police officer, and in this matter, Mr. Ruff, as a term and condition of your probation, I'm directing that you shall not go to areas where the Mesa Police Department are conducting an investigation, that you shall not record any members of the Mesa Police Department while you are on probation. That is the order of this court. And I know, Mr. Ruff, that you believe that you have a First Amendment right, and people do have rights to record. But when you violate those rights in the nature and the way that you did, Mr. Ruff, I believe it is an...
When you violate your rights in the nature that he did, how can you violate your own rights? The only way I see that being seen fit, you violate your rights when you waive them. Oh my God, some of these judges are so freaking stupid.
term of probation, given the nature and the contact that you had with the officers and the things that you were saying to them. And again, this is in light especially of the last case where I watched that video over and over of your conduct and what you did.
Hurt your feelings.
So for that reason, Mr. Ruff, if you violate these terms and conditions of probation, please understand that there is a substantial amount of jail time hanging over your head, sir. I do not want to impose that jail. I want you to change your behaviors. That's the whole point of this, Mr. Ruff, and it doesn't seem like you are interested in doing that.
I'm laughing with him too. He wants direct to bow down and be good little sheep and obey unlawful orders from the judges and the cops.
I'm certainly hoping, sir, that you would take into account that, one, you did say that you're going to be a father soon again. And I'm hoping that you would take that into account and that somehow, sir, that you would change your behaviors and see that this is just, it's not conducive to yourself, sir, in terms of,
I disagree. It is conducive because it's waking up the sheep out there and becoming wolves instead of bowing down all the time now. So no, it's conducive. And thank you, by the way, direct, doing what you're doing. I mean, you're waking people's eyes up of this corruption that's been festered for so long.
Mr. Ruff, courts don't want to lock you up. I know that you feel that somehow
Okay.
this is what's happening, Mr. Ruff. I was really hoping that you would come in here today.
The courts absolutely do want to lock you up, people. You know what that's called? It's called obligations to make sure prisons are being well funded, private prisons, with their contract to keep them full, keep them making money. So it is, they do want you to go to jail. And then all these other things, they want him to spend money to probation officers, drug rehab officers, this, that. No, they want you to spend all your money. So the courts really do want to do this to y'all.
With a different attitude.
This is a joke.
Get a different medium sub at a special price every day of the week.
Oh, by the way, go get a sub.
Flex, torque, so many options. Engagement rings, even more complicated. So go.
Sensitive about my language, your sensibilities.
Mr. Ruff, there isn't anything I can do to change it, and I'm realizing that as I'm sitting here.
33.
So there isn't anything else that I can say to you, Mr. Ruff. So those are the orders of this court. You do have a right to appeal these decisions, which I know you will. You must file that notice of appeal within 14 days of today's date, or you will lose that right forever.
Right.
Mr. Ruff, can you give me a date and time that you want to start serving your 5 days of jail? Understanding that it'll be that you are going to appeal it, but I still need the date and time that you're going to start your jail sentence, sir.
I'm not going to give any date and time to anything. I'm going to appeal this today.
Well, let's see here. Sometimes my TV shuts off because it gets too loud for some stupid reason. So, on my behalf, I apologize.
I'm sorry I hurt your sensibilities about my bad language, by the way. I didn't mean to offend you. I'm going to go right over and appeal it right now. So whatever you write in your little booklet there, it doesn't matter. It's going to get frozen. I'm sorry I hurt your sensibilities about my bad language, by the way. I didn't mean to offend you so sensitively. This is America. Soon you traitors will realize that.
Little powder puff judges and cops and lawyers.
So again, Your Honor, are these security guards here meant to threaten and intimidate me?
Yes.
I'm asking you on the record. Are you going to ignore me, Your Honor?
Mr. Ruff, I'm going to ask that you remain quiet, sir.
So you're not going to answer me, okay?
Alrighty, y'all. There you go. If you want to see the whole video, by the way, without my interruptions, alright, go to DirectD and watch the whole thing all the way through. And he's got some little pictures out there, you know, that actually describes the Canon 3A3 and all this kind of stuff about what the courts can and cannot do, by the way. But we're on the assumptions that magistrates or even courts. So, I mean, they're allowed to break court rules because they're technically not even a court, but yet they're technically a judicial branch. Yep, I don't know, people. They're still standing on with DirectD right here. They're going with bylaws, okay? And I just call it bypass laws. They're bypassing the Constitution, state constitution, federal constitution, and even codes and statutes. And a lot of it, as we've seen a couple other times, you know, they actually are enforcing more of a policy area than anything else. Everybody knows he had the First Amendment to do this. So they're going to go by some type of policy that the cops signed. Why do I have to obey the cops' policies? I didn't sign no contract with them. Just saying. We're under the illusion that we had to go and operate under all these policies and rules when it only tends to them. Because we are, in fact, going by hearsay, judges telling us what we can and cannot do, attorneys saying what we can and cannot do, cops saying what we can and cannot do, instead of researching ourselves, y'all. More power to you, DirectD. And, you know, on their higher up courts, I hope you get more freedom back and they actually find you constitutionally lawful. Of course, we just never know about these blankety-blank judges. This is the way the people news. Bye, y'all.